If you've been out buying anything lately, then you will probably notice that things have just got a little bit more expensive, and it all has to do with inflation. And this is exactly what I want to talk about today, of how can we protect ourselves from the time of high prices. Inflation is when prices rise over time. It's when goods and services cost more for you to buy comparing to last year. And this goes to anything including common daily goods that you normally buy, such as bananas, your pair of jeans, or anything like heating or house prices. And when things cost a little bit more, essentially that means your money is worth a little bit less. Now, before we go any further, if you're new around here, in this channel we talk about money, career and life. So if this is something that you're interested in, then please be sure to subscribe to this channel for similar content like this. Okay, to give a full picture, inflation itself isn't really a bad guy. In many parts of the world, the governments want to control the rate of inflation to right around 2% a year, so that when price rises at around 2%, consumer, you and me, don't really notice it that much. However, when the rate of inflation is higher than 2%, that's when it can become quite problematic, and that's what we are seeing currently in this time in many parts of the world today. In the US, the inflation rate hit 5.4% in July this year. It hit 9% in Brazil, and in the UK, the inflation rate stands at around 3%, 3.2%, averaging something like that. However, for next year, it is predicted that inflation rate will be as high as 4%. And if, let's say, this prediction is correct, to put it simply, this means that if you have £100 today lying around in the house, next year your £100 will be worth £96 and will be worth £92.16 the year after. So today I'll be talking about my own personal strategy that I am currently using to combat the inflation or shield myself during the time of high prices like this. These examples are going to be geared towards UK specific, because obviously that's where I'm living. However, I do think that these tips can be applied to any of you who live in any part of the world. I'll be tackling the three key main areas, which is your income, your spending, and saving and investment. So this might turn out to be quite a long video, and if it does go over 10 minutes, then I will leave all the timestamps in the description below. If you haven't done it already, the first thing that we all should be thinking about when we talk about combating inflation is to get your salary increase at least to match the rate of inflation, if not more. Now, we'll all be affected by the price rises somehow. However, if your increase in salary is nowhere matching the rate of inflation, then you are going to feel it a bit more keenly than others. And this was the first thing that I've done recently, which is I changed job in order to receive an increased salary that beat the rate of inflation. And of course, you can ask your current employer to give you a rise in salary that will match the rate of inflation as well. Now, if you're in a full-time employment, I feel like salary negotiations or negotiation skills in general is a very important skill to acquire, and something that we all need to master, because a lot of times companies do actually pay their employees much less than what they're worth. I personally managed to increase my salary by 4 times in 5 years, and I do plan to make a video on that as well, so watch out this space. One of the areas of cost of living that all of us will be heavily impacted is obviously food and drink. Just by going through my last year's food shopping, I could see that in February last year, Tesco Scottish mackerel was priced at £1.50, and now it is priced at £2, which is an increase of 33%. Tesco pack of 2 rump steak was priced at £6.80, and now it is priced at £8, which is an increase of 18%. Heinz light salad cream was priced at £2, and now it is priced at £2.90, which is a rise of 45%. And of course, when it comes to food, I feel like in this category it's quite tricky for us to cut down, because it's something that we all have to consume. But what I personally do and find works very well for me in order to keep the cost low is to shop online and get the items delivered. I find that when I go food shopping in the actual shop, I tend to always buy more than I need, especially when it comes to sweets and snacks. This is because thanks for those effective marketing strategy, these items are being placed in positions that increase your spendings on purpose, and I don't know why I tend to always fall for them. So for me, shopping online means that I can just log in and get what I need and completely eliminate the temptations of getting the stuff that I don't need, which in turn keep my shopping costs really low. But also, item prices is not the only thing that you need to look out for. You also need to be wary about shrinkflation. Shrinkflation is when the general price of goods rise, but the companies refuse to raise prices, or they can't raise prices due to the market competition. So in turn, what they do instead is they reduce the size of their products. Now, you may not notice, but tin of roses weighed 1,100 grams in 2009, and now it only weighs 600 grams. Bird's eye fish fingers reduced out its pack size from 12 to 10. Whole wheat bread weighed 800 grams and now weighted 750 grams. So now, instead of just looking at the item price itself, I also look at price per weight as well. And this is another reason why I find online shopping very helpful, because the price per weight is stated so clearly, and then you can easily compare it with other similar items of another brand. The price of alcohol is also generally more expensive this year than last year or the year before. The pubs have bumped up their prices due to rise in costs and pass down those costs to the end consumer, you and me. So with that, I am just simply going to drink a little bit less just to cut down on the spending of alcohol, especially when I'm out having dinner. I don't feel like I need to drink bottles and bottles of wine in order to enjoy the company. I can just have one glass, and honestly, it's really no biggie. Apart from the price rises in food and drink, we also see high price rises in other categories as well, such as furniture, women's clothes, bicycle, books, and vet bills. So my general approach is to really just to consume a little bit less, especially when it comes to things that I don't absolutely need right now in this particular point in time. Now, I get it, instant gratification can be quite difficult to deal with, and we are also bombarded with these ads and cookies 24/7, luring us into clicking that buy button. But if you try to delay a certain purchase by a few days or a week, you might find that you actually can go without that item and you don't actually need that item anymore. Another significant price riser this year is the energy costs, and although not directly relates to inflation, as we're talking about high price rises, then we might as well talk about the energy bill as well, as the energy bills has gone up significantly in the past couple of months. We've seen energy companies collapse, and there are talks that the cost of energy will increase by another 30% next year. These days in our house, we monitor energy usage more closely than ever before. I don't personally leave any lights on in the rooms that I don't use, and I don't really put that much lights on now these days. Well, apart from the time that I'm filming YouTube videos, obviously I need a lot of lights. But apart from that, I make sure that I don't turn that many lights on. I've also turned down the thermostat by 1 degree, and I also make sure that I don't leave the heating on for too long. I also find that having smart meter installed and placed where I can clearly see in the house is very beneficial, so that I can monitor the usage on a day-to-day basis, so that I can avoid any surprise charges. When it comes to savings and investing, it's times like this that you need to really closely monitor your budget in order to see which expense category you might be able to cut down and where are you spending too much on. The most important strategy that I personally stand by during time of high inflation like this is that I try to hold as little cash as possible, because as we talked about before, when it comes to time of high inflation, that means your money is worth a little less, and if you put your cash in a saving account where you earn at best the interest of 0.1%, then that means that your money is just going to erode over time. But if you're someone that still want to hold some cash in relatively safe place and earn interest from it, instead of putting your money in standard saving account, you can look at putting your money in regular savings account, where you put a specific amount of money into the account every month and earn a little bit of higher interest. I think the interest right now, depending on the bank and whether you're existing customer or not, the interest rate can range right around 1% to 4%, which still not really beating the inflation, but much better than 0.1% that you will be getting from a normal standard savings account. But for us as a family, anything beyond really short-term emergency funds now, anything that we've saved actually for the past couple of months, we put them directly into investment, because we are trying our best to just avoid the impact of high inflation where our money is just continue to erode. And with good investment, hopefully we can beat the inflation and receive some good return out of it. If there's any tips and tricks to combat inflation that I haven't mentioned, then I would really appreciate it if you leave them in the comments and we can have a talk about it. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
You might be giving yourself credit for. If you have something that's going on in your life right now that's challenging, painful, it's just a reminder to